Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. We are going to go ahead and get started, although others may be continuing to join throughout. It looks like most people have logged into the webinar. Just a few housekeeping items before we get started here. I do have all attendees placed on mute. I do ask that you keep your microphones off for the duration of the presentation to eliminate any background noise. But we will open up time at the end for questions, and you may also use the chat function throughout. This webinar is also being recorded so that we can share it with others who were not able to join us today. Today's discussion is going to focus on LinkedIn. We are going to go through a practical guide for how to build out your profile, how to optimize your profile, and also how to use the platform. In the age of coronavirus, many people have found themselves looking for new jobs unexpectedly. Now combine that with social and physical distancing, and the search for a new role can seem really daunting. So I want to provide you all with some best practices and tips to be successful, especially when most of your job search will likely be happening online. So just outlining the agenda for what we're going to talk about today, we're going to take a high-level look at LinkedIn and how it can benefit your career. We're going to talk about optimizing your individual profile page, but it is important to note that there are several different ways to participate on LinkedIn. Individuals may have their own account, but businesses and companies can also have their own accounts as well. For the purpose of today's discussion, we will only be focusing on an individual's profile page. I would like this to be a collaborative discussion and be able to answer any questions as time allows. So please feel free to use the comment box throughout the webinar to participate in the discussion. But please note that I am a one-woman show over here, so I will certainly address questions as we're admitting people and running through the presentation as I'm able to do so. A copy of this presentation will also be emailed to all of the participants. Lastly, if you'd like to have any follow-up conversations or address any questions or concerns related to your profile or LinkedIn usage, my contact information is on the last slide of the presentation, and I'd be happy to set up a time to speak with you. To get us started, I'd like to take a minute and ask about your goals for using LinkedIn. That's going to help us guide the conversation and dialogue moving forward. So what is the primary reason that you are using or want to use LinkedIn? Are you hoping to keep in contact with colleagues, looking for a new job, new business opportunities, increasing your industry knowledge, just general networking, professional development? If you could, please submit your responses in the comment box. Okay, so looks like we have some people that are wanting to use LinkedIn for general networking. We have some people that are looking for a job. Some are using it in multiple ways, so that's always good too. All right, so we'll try and focus on some of these specifically as we move through the presentation. All right, so now we're going to dig in. What is LinkedIn? Who's using the platform? And why do you need to be there? So LinkedIn is a social networking website aimed at professionals. It allows members to contact past and current colleagues, look for a new job, uncover new business opportunities, and network with experts within a particular industry. It can also be a useful tool for job hunting, career networking, and professional development. The goal of the site is to allow registered members to establish and document networks of people that they know and trust professionally. LinkedIn is heavily utilized by many professionals, but it can be a waste of time if you're not using it effectively. So do you need to be on LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a must for your professional future, whether you are a job seeker, happily employed, an entrepreneur, or a consultant. By not joining, you are letting potential professional opportunities pass you by every single day. As of January 2019, over 500 million professionals use LinkedIn to cultivate their careers and businesses. And I'm sure that this number has grown even more in the last year and a half. I just don't have the updated data. So now we're going to get into some of the nitty-gritty here. We're going to walk through establishing and optimizing your profile page. As we work through the next few slides, it is important to keep in mind your goal for using the platform. So again, we're just going to take a moment to think about your current, or maybe lack thereof, profile page, and think about which of the following statements best applies to you. Do you have a rock star profile and it doesn't need any improvements? You have an established profile, but you're open to recommendations. Maybe you just have your current information, but you are looking for suggestions to improve the profile. Most often I'm talking to people that have set up the basics a couple years ago and then have never made any changes. Or you don't have a LinkedIn profile. So talking about setting up the profile basics. If you have been on LinkedIn in the last week, you will see that they have made some changes. And I did not have time to get in and update some of the stuff on the slide, so we'll just talk through it. But the first and most important thing is your contact information. Your name is extremely important, and you should be using the name that people are likely to use when they are searching for you. So if your legal name is Robert Joseph V, but everyone calls you Steve, you should use the name Steve when setting up your profile page. You want to add your business contact information, including your email and phone number, links to your company website, blog, Twitter, however it is that you are active and looking for people to be able to reach out and contact you. Now, a key thing here is that when you are setting up your profile, you are asked to select a primary email address. That primary email address should be one that is personal and you have direct access to. If you are unable to recover your account, if you use a company email address and then are let go from the company, or you decide to break ways with the company and you don't change it on your LinkedIn profile, you are forever locked out of your LinkedIn account. They cannot merge accounts and they cannot recover your account without logging into that primary email address. So use your own personal primary email address. You can then add a secondary email address that you want to share publicly or share with your connections. Additionally, LinkedIn added in a new feature where you can record you saying your name. I think this is a really cool feature because it does tell people not only how to pronounce your name, but it does give that little bit of personality where you can say, hey, this is me, my name is Hillary. Pronounce my last name Ken, which not many people know because of the way that it's spelled, but it allows people to hear your voice, and so it just adds that extra level of connectivity. You can also personalize your LinkedIn URL. Creating a personalized LinkedIn URL makes it easier for others to find you and share your profile. It's also heavily related with Google Search Analytics. So if somebody is Googling your name as a potential candidate, We want them to find some of this information and present you in the best way. So if we use a personalized LinkedIn URL, it is most likely that your name is going to then come up and they will be directed to your LinkedIn profile. You do want to use a professional photo and it should be current. Ideally one where you're dressed professionally and have a pleasant smile. You should let your eyes show, so don't wear sunglasses or hats. And position the photo so that your head is just above the center and takes up most of the space. You should be the only one in the picture. LinkedIn is not the place to share pictures with spouses, kids, pets. Maybe if you're a veterinarian, okay, maybe you can have a pet, but really ideally it should just be you. You also have the option to personalize your cover image. So LinkedIn provides everybody with a generic cover image. Prior to last week, it was that blue background with white connecting dots. Now it's sort of this two-tone green background with a little wave in the middle. But you can add a unique cover image or a branded graphic to your page. And this is a powerful addition that helps establish your brand and tell your story. This might be your company banner page or something that represents you as a person. There are specific dimensions that need to be used, similar to Facebook. And so if you just simply Google LinkedIn background images, the images will pre-populate in the correct sizes. You can also use canva.com, which is it has a lot of free content on there, and you can search LinkedIn background images there as well. All right, so now getting into a little bit more about you, your headline. You have 120 characters to use to create a descriptive headline that goes beyond just your job title. We already know that you are, XYZ person at so-and-so company because that's already presented in other ways on your profile. So this is a really great way to highlight who you are. What are the problems that you solve? What are the solutions that you offer? What are the type of people that you help? You want to speak directly to your viewers by including keywords that they might use to find you. So there's a helpful formula. You want to talk about what you've got, what you can give, and what you want to get. Describe that in those 120 characters. That includes spaces, dashes, all of that, 120 characters. You come up with a descriptive headline for yourself. For your summary statement, also called the about statement, you want to give people a sense of who you are, and you should be speaking directly to your audience. So using the first person. That means you're saying, I am, we went to. You're using the first person to have that conversation. You're opening up that conversation. And you have 2,000 characters to use in this section. So you want to talk about what you do, what you're passionate about, what makes you unique, how are you different from your competitors, what makes you credible, what are some of your key accomplishments, who do you serve? And then you want to add something, a little bit more personal about yourself too, because we are trying to build that interest of why somebody would want to get to know you and why they should connect with you. So you might talk about a place that you've traveled, maybe the last book that you've read, what you do on the weekends, do you play any sports, maybe you run marathons. All of this can be really impactful when somebody is reading your summary statement and builds that personal connection. Your first sentence is critical. So if you begin in an engaging way, the more likely somebody is to want to click that see more button, that little ellipses, those 3 dots, the see more, and read the rest of your summary statement. And again, you want to write as though you're having a conversation with your viewer. Remember, LinkedIn is truthfully a branding platform. So you should make your profile summary unique to you and don't just have it be a list of keywords. For your experience, you want to try and show at least 3 positions over the last 10 to 15 years. If you have been promoted, then you should list each position separately to demonstrate your growth. You want to include a short description about your main responsibilities. I also like to include a little bit about the business, maybe 1 or 2 sentences. That way recruiters will understand the types and sizes of organizations that you've worked for and the industries that they were in. We don't want to make recruiters have to do an additional step of researching that company that you worked for before. Just give them all the information if it's not a well-known company. And then describe some of your key achievements. So quantifying accomplishments, achievements is really, really important on a resume. On LinkedIn, it is a public platform, so you may want to omit Some of those numbers, facts, and figures that you will hear resume writers say over and over again is so critical for being on a resume. If it's not public information, don't put it on LinkedIn. For skills, this is where we want to add all of those keywords. You can add between 5 and 50 relevant skills, and you should be listing the most significant skills first. You have the option to pin 3 skills, which is the first thing that somebody will see when they're scrolling through your profile. And you want to stay on top of this section, especially if you're changing industries or terms change, you develop a new skill, a new software program that you are using, you want to stay on top of this section. Additionally, LinkedIn will sort of pre-populate. If you start typing in, business development, it will pre-populate with business development. Biz dev is probably not a skill that's already on LinkedIn, but it will allow you to create that skill if you want. I don't recommend creating a lot of your own skills because what's pre-populating is what people are searching for. So use those common core key terms to build out your skill section. There's also a section for education. So if you do have education, even if you're currently enrolled in a program, you should include that as well and link it to the university that you are attending. So now we're going to talk about enhancing your profile. What we just talked about were the basics, so it's the bare minimum that you should be doing to set up your profile. To enhance your profile and really make it stand out, you want to think about adding some type of media. So you could do a video, a PowerPoint, a white paper, an article that you've written. You can add this to your summary statement. You can also add media to your experience section. Either one is completely fine. And then a huge thing that you want to do is ask for recommendations. A lot of recruiters are not reaching out to people to ask for references. Even on resumes, we do not include, references available upon request. It is assumed that you can provide references. Recommendations are a great way to show instant credibility. So ask colleagues, clients, vendors, classmates to endorse you for your skills, and also write recommendations about working with you in a team or maybe on a specific project or just in general. When you're asking somebody for a recommendation, you can provide them with a couple of ideas about what you're looking for to help them create an effective recommendation for you. You want to make it as easy as possible on them, and then you really should return that favor or even start by writing them a recommendation first. You can get recommendations from people that report directly to you, people that you report to directly. Again, it can be somebody that you've worked with on a professional sense or in school, and then add this to your profile to get that instant credibility. For the accomplishments section, this is a great way to add any of those additional things that you might have that you've, excuse me, maybe you've won an award, you've been published, you have certifications, maybe you have a patent, maybe you speak multiple languages. The accomplishments section is a great way to add in all of this information. Last piece of enhancing your profile is to follow other companies or influential people. This is going to show up in your interests section on your LinkedIn profile, and it shows your enthusiasm. You want to follow, join, and participate in groups. We're going to go into a little bit more detail about groups in a few slides. But you want this to be related to the field or industry that you are looking to go into, or maybe something that you're really passionate about. So you do want to be liking and following other companies or influential people to show that you do have an active profile. All right, so now we're going to talk about using LinkedIn. One of the most common concerns that I run into is how someone should actually utilize the platform. Now that we've talked about how to establish your profile and make it the best, how do you connect with people? Should you be posting, and what type of content should you be posting? What about all those people that clog up your feed all the time? What do you do with them? So if there's anything that you have specific questions about with using the platform, you can certainly enter it into the chat and we can address any of the specific questions at the end, but we're going to go through some of the basics here. So the first thing we want to talk about are your LinkedIn connections. If you have been on the platform, you will see that there are first, second, and third degree connections. It's really important to understand what those degrees mean. So a first degree connection is someone that you're connected directly to because you've accepted their invitation to connect or they've accepted your invitation. You'll see a first degree icon next to their name when you search for something and those results pop up. And you can contact them directly by sending a message. And that's really important to keep in mind, that it doesn't, there's no fee or credit associated with you messaging your first degree connections. Second degree connections are people who are connected to your first degree connections. So you'll see a second degree icon next to their name in search results. As you can see on this screen that I'm sharing here, I have it selected for first degree connections. So we're only seeing first degree connections. But there's also 256,000 second degree connections that are all part of my big circle of who I'm connected to. You are able to contact these people directly. You can click the connect button on their profile page, or you can also contact them by sending an InMail, which is LinkedIn's version of email. Third degree connections are people who are part of your second degree connections network. So these are people that you're connected to by several people out. Typically, you can only see their first name and their last initial. Some people do have it set where you can view their whole name, but most commonly you will only be able to see their last initial. And you can typically not send them a connection request. You can follow them or you can send them an InMail, but you can't actually send them a connection request. Again, just mentioning groups really quick. The members of your LinkedIn groups are considered to be part of your network. So they will come up in some of these search results, and they are fellow members or members of LinkedIn, and that's how they will appear in your search results. So making connections on LinkedIn, it looks a little bit different versus, on the mobile app versus the desktop. If you've been on LinkedIn mobile this week, you've seen that they've added stories. I haven't seen it on desktop yet. So there's a lot of different ways that we can connect with people. The functionality is generally pretty much the same between the mobile app and the desktop, but the way that you actually access some of these is different. So talking about making connections on LinkedIn, you can follow or connect with people. You can also message and InMail people. So talking about the mobile app, if you're going to follow somebody, you'll click on that ellipses and hit follow. If you click connect on the mobile app, it's going to instantaneously send that connection request with no message attached. And you'll hear me talk about this a lot. You should always include messages. I receive multiple connection requests per day. I do not consider anybody who has not sent me a message that I do not know. If they have sent me a message explaining why they're reaching out to connect, I will start a conversation with them and potentially build a relationship with them. So always, always, always send a message with your connection request if you do not know that person or they may not recognize your name. Now on the desktop version, as soon as you click connect, it automatically pops up a box and asks you if you want to include a message. But with the mobile app, you actually have to click on the little ellipses and then hit connect with a message. Now, the difference between sending a message and an InMail is that every account has a certain amount of InMail credits. This is based on whether or not you have a paid account or a free account. You have a certain amount of InMail messages that you can use per month. So if you have a basic free account, you may consider upgrading to a premium account to use more InMail if you're active on a job search. It's going to come in a lot of handy for you. And we'll talk more about the subscription types at the end of this presentation. So messages you can send directly to those first degree connections. You can click on either the message, both on the mobile app and the desktop. And same thing with InMail. You can send those messages from both your phone and the desktop computer. So now we've built out a profile, we've gotten a network going. Now what do we do with it? Again, going back to this number of 500 million active users. Of those 500 million active users, 250 are monthly contributors, and only 3 million are weekly contributors. So if you are participating on the platform, I guarantee you are getting visibility. So how do we get some visibility? Well, we'll start with the most difficult first. You can write articles, right? This is always the most daunting, but these are original contributions in the form of articles. You tend to have the most visibility and build the most credibility. They do need to be at least 500 words, and they should contain headers, subsections. They're very similar to blogs. If you have any blogs, you can just even copy and paste those into your articles section and get some of that visibility there. You can also create posts. You can create your own post with ideas to share. It might be links to an external blog, an article that you like. It's an excellent way to contribute to the platform. You can also do video posts, so you can record a video and upload the video. Any user can create videos directly on the platform, but it's best utilized when also containing text. And then, of course, the easiest way to contribute on the platform is to like, share, and comment. When you like a post, you are actively giving, it's going to show up in your feed that, so-and-so liked this post. However, it isn't really joining the conversation. When you comment on someone's posts, you have the opportunity to do several things. You could thank the person for sharing it. You can ask a question. You can add value to the conversation by providing your knowledge and experience. And you can even do all three at the same time. Commenting on a post not only helps this content show up on your feed, but it also helps the person who posted it. It's going to show that somebody commented on their post and get them more visibility too. And then again, the most passive but easiest thing to do is to share a post. In this, in my opinion, this is what networking and tools like LinkedIn are all about, right? It's seeing someone else's great content, it's sharing it with your network, and we're passing along all this great knowledge. You're paying it forward to the rest of your network, and you're also giving that person who originally posted a lot of credibility. So when you think about creating some of your own posts, here's some guidelines about what you can write about. You can share an interesting article that you read, maybe a podcast that you listened to back when we were all having to commute to work. There was a lot of content about what do we do when we're on the commute? How can we use this time successfully? Maybe you're working from home now and you found a great article about how to work from home and be productive, or you've got a 5-year-old that's in kindergarten and you're still working, and how are you handling this? So there's a lot of different things that you can post about that are considered professional that really help people become the best version of themselves in the workplace too. You can share something new that you've learned, also congratulating somebody else on their success, or and how that motivates you. Those are all really good ways to contribute to the platform. All right, so LinkedIn groups. Not a lot of people know about groups. It's kind of this hidden gem, especially if you're on a job search. So LinkedIn groups are hubs on LinkedIn, which provide a place for professionals within the same industry or similar interests to share content and find answers. You do have to be accepted into groups, so you will have to go through the process of requesting to join a group. But we'll just use one group as an example. There's a lot of human resources groups out there. So in order to find these groups, you can search at the top of your LinkedIn page, human resources, and then filter down to groups. With this, you want to click on the work icon. So there's about 9 dots at the top. It's at the top left hand of your profile page. That's how you're going to go back to your groups and access them. You can click on that groups button and then contribute with the groups that you've become part of. Now, a lot of recruiters that I know, they will become members of a group, especially if they're recruiting for a particular industry, and they will source candidates by the members that are in the group. So it's a really, really good place to be and contribute to conversations within those groups. All right, so I promised you guys that we were going to talk about LinkedIn Premium, and hopefully this gives you some information about whether or not the paid account is the right decision for you. So again, LinkedIn is a social networking service, and at its core, it is free. But if you choose to upgrade to a paid account, you do have access to additional features. And just a side note, LinkedIn does not pay me for any of this, so this is all my personal opinion about whether or not a premium platform is something you should consider. So there is something called a premium career platform. It's about 30 bucks a month. And what it does is give you access to more InMail messages. And then it also increases the number of search results that you will return. So as an example, if you are typing in marketing associate jobs in Phoenix, it's going to provide you with a very long list of search results. And each and every time you do that, it's counting against the total number of searches that you can run on a monthly basis. So if you're really, really active on a job search, you're going to max this out every month. And that's when it becomes a good idea to purchase the premium career at about 30 bucks a month. These are all month-to-month contracts, so you can cancel at any time. There's also Premium Business, there's Sales Navigator, there's Recruiter. All of those come with different levels of InMail messages and search visibility. You don't have to be a sales professional to buy Sales Navigator. You don't have to be a recruiter to buy a recruiting side of it. You can use any of these tools, but the Recruiter can be about $100 a month. So they are pretty heavy investments as you move up. So again, going into some of those premium features, you do have more InMail messages. You can see more profiles when you're searching. And then you do have access to premium search filters. So that would be like the ability to expand profiles. You don't have to go all the way into somebody's account. You can bring up different search results. You can save your search results. And some of that data will be really crucial to understanding how to use LinkedIn effectively for you and what your goals are. So again, here is my contact information. You can reach me on LinkedIn, of course. I'm on there all the time. LinkedIn.com/in/Hillary Ken. You can also email me at info@HiConsultingServices.com. I'd be happy to have a conversation with any of you to provide any guidance that I can on your job search. Again, we do offer a wide variety of career coaching services. So if you'd like to set up a conversation with me, I'd be happy to. I'm going to go ahead and invite everybody to turn off their microphone or turn on their microphone if they would like and ask me any questions directly. And I'll go ahead and end the recording at this time too.